since I've been up here, but the Lord put a message on my heart, so I'm going to bring it to you.
Awesome.
You know, some people really struggle at life, don't they?
Yeah.
Struggle at work, struggle at home, with their families. They just struggle. Everything they touch falls apart. Jobs fall apart, vehicles, relationships, friends, just falls apart. It's like that old saying, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have luck at all. Right? You know those people?
Yeah.
I used to be one of those people. I used to have to buy a vehicle every year, 6 months sometimes. Blew a motor on it, transmission went out, did something stupid, wrecked it. Someone hit me while I was parked. Always getting a vehicle. Couldn't get ahead. I was also one of those guys that if 100 vehicles are driving in a row and they're all blowing a stop sign, and I did it too, I'm the one getting pulled over and getting the ticket. The 50 behind me, they're still going through the stop sign. The cop's waiting at them. I was that guy. That was me. In fact, in my hometown, just down the street was a library in a residential section. The cross street was very, very, very seldomly used. Nobody stopped at that stop sign. Like nobody. You'd be shocked if you came to that stop sign and someone was stopped there. I'm coming bumping along, it's dark so you can see headlights, keep looking, blow that stop sign, just as a police officer with his headlights off is leaving the library. Guess who T-boned that cop?
Oh, no.
Bad day.
Guess how many miles that cop car had? It was its first shift.
Oh, man.
They weren't friendly with Levi that day.
Really bad day.
Everything I touched fell apart. When I was in like 10th or 11th grade, I'm glad my kids aren't here today. When I was like in 10th or 11th grade, a big fight broke out in the chow hall in our high school. I'm talking like 30, 35 kids brawling it out. Now this was before they had cops in schools. In a small town, Minnesota, no cops there. Kids are getting crazy with it. Little did we know, upstairs had a K through 7th grade. There was city cops, deputy sheriffs, high patrols, firefighters all doing their big dare presentation. That's my luck, all right? Someone yells, "Cops!" I bolt. Right around the hallway here, I was on the corner. My class was like 30 feet down. I just had to step around the corner and I was free and clear. Went to class like nothing happened. Out of those 30 kids, how many do you think got hauled downtown and charged with crimes? 4. Guess who was the first one? This guy. Guess who got the highest fines? This guy. Guess who got the longest probation? This guy. Longest suspension? This guy.
Aren't you special?
Everything I touched fell to pieces. But one day, that changed. It really changed. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, God was just hemming you in, and once you accepted Jesus, it all got better. You're kind of right. I was raised in the church. I was already saved doing this stuff. I'll be honest with you. I read my Bible a few times a month. I even prayed before bed every night. Every night. I knew Jesus loved me, and I always felt bad after I did one of those things. I always did. Even when I didn't get caught, which there's a long story of that too. I felt bad. I asked for forgiveness, and frequently, not always, I even made an effort not to do them again. I'll be honest. Now some of that stuff was the Lord backing me into a corner. That is true.
Yep.
But the majority of those things, cut and dry, were the consequences of this guy's actions. That's all they really were. They were consequences. In my mind, I had met the requirements to make heaven my home. I believed in Jesus. He was the only begotten Son of God the Father. He died, rose again the third day for my sins. But I had failed to allow Jesus' redemptive power to make any changes to my life. Fred, you pull up Romans 6:1 quick? What should we say then? Should we continue in sin that grace multiply? My life said, yep, and close the book. Never read verse 2. What does verse 2 say?
Absolutely not.
No! Stop it, you idiot! That's what it says. That's what it says. I did not honor God with my decisions. That was the problem. I was afraid he was going to throw me in jail, and he did a couple times. I was afraid he might throw me into hell for my rebellious ways. I was afraid he'd blot my name out of the Lamb's Book of Life. That's why I prayed for forgiveness when I acted like a fool. It's a catch-all. I never showed him honor in my life. I believed in Jesus, but I certainly wasn't doing what was right. All that junk on in my life, that was this guy's fault. That's all it was. Struggles with work, home life, friends, family, cars, speeding tickets, living on the verge of financial breakdown. All that changed. I did one thing. I started doing what was right. Simple. It wasn't that hard, Dad. Am I perfect? No. Do I still have struggles in life? Yes, we do. We all do. Nobody said that being a Christian was easy. Nobody said that once you accept Christ in your life, it'll all be perfect. Perfect marriage, perfect kids, perfect job, bags full of cash stacked around in your 6,000 square foot mansion. That's a fairy tale. It really is. What I'm saying, if you're having a hard time with life, maybe you ought to stop and ask yourself, are these my consequences?
Yeah, that's good.
A lot of problems Christians are facing in this day and age is simply that. Consequences for their actions. Do the right thing is not a one-time thing either. It's a lifestyle.
Yep.
You make it a priority to make it your lifestyle, to do the right thing in all matters. That's where you're going to find the Lord's provision and blessing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's look at a biblical example of this. Exodus 1:15 through 21. Moreover, the king of Egypt summoned the midwives, one of whom was called Shiphrah and the other Puah. When you attend the Hebrew women and see them giving birth, he said, if it's a boy, kill him. If it's a girl, let her live. However, the midwives were God-fearing women, so they didn't do what the king of Egypt ordered, but let the boys live. The king of Egypt summoned the midwives and demanded of them, why have you done this? And let the boys live. The midwife answered Pharaoh, it's because the Hebrew women aren't like us. They go into labor and give birth before the midwife arrives. Therefore, God prospered the midwives, and the people continued to multiply and grow powerful. Indeed, because the midwives feared God, he made them founders of families. Let's break that down a bit. Midwives traditionally married women who couldn't or did not have children. Egypt was a superpower of the day. They had pretty advanced medicine compared to the Hebrews. Based on the books that we've translated about embalming medical practices and successful surgeries where you see the bone growing back after brain surgery, they weren't idiots. Egyptians kind of knew what was going on. So it's safe to say these midwives probably had some decent training. There's a good chance that their job was their profession. They had dedicated resources to their profession and their job. Knowing how many Hebrews were enslaved, it's safe to say that it wasn't just these two ladies. It wasn't just Shiphrah and Puah. There was a lot of Hebrews. So more than likely, these two ladies were probably the president and vice president of the Greater Mediterranean Midwives Association. These were the muckety mucks, you know? So the king, Pharaoh, the guy who could have slaughtered Shiphrah and Puah's entire families, immediate family, extended family, anybody they seen talking to them and took these women and threw them into jail and say, because you disobeyed, they're all dead. And they could have just sat there knowing, I caused the demise of all those people. That's the man who gave them orders. But in verse 17 it says they feared God. They loved what he loved. He hated what he hated. They chose to do the right thing.
Right.
They didn't call a board meeting of all the greater Mediterranean midwives and take a vote. They just said, we're not doing it. Didn't pass along the information. No, we're not doing it. They knew it was right and decided we're going to honor God. Even knowing what those consequences could have been.
Yep.
Verse 21 says, because the midwives feared God, he gave them families. God made them family founders. Not just mamas. He made them matriarchs of a lineage.
Yeah.
He blessed them.
Yes.
Blessed them. We don't know much anything else about these two ladies or these couple of verses here. But we do know they did what was right in a very serious situation. And God made sure these ladies were taken care of. They did, what they did in their professional lives caused provision and blessing in their personal lives. It's all tied together, man.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
America nowadays, we all got little boxes and compartments in their lives, don't they? This is my work box where I do say and act this way. This is my spouse box where I act this way with my wife, say these things. This is my parent box where I act and say these things. This is my church box where I go and say this and act that way. And all these little boxes where we're constantly switching boxes. What we're doing. That's not the way it works with the Lord. You're one box.
One box.
One box.
One box.
A mess in one area is a mess in the whole box.
Yep.
If you're tired of the drama, if you're tired of the struggle, tired just being tired, stop and ask yourself, am I doing what's right? If you're not doing what's right, it's a very good chance that you're dealing with consequences of your own actions.
Yep.
Suck it up. Deal with it. Sorry.
All right.
You ain't gonna pray that away because God disciplines his children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
He
He's a
loves
good
you.
father.
Wednesday nights have been talking about in Bible study when God brought Moses and the Israelites to Mount Sinai. He told them, wash the filth of Egypt out of your clothes. He told them, clean up your act.
Yeah.
You stop it.
Yeah.
You take action. You do something. And that's where we
Very good.
take our steps towards sanctification.
Yep.
My dad, that surprised me. Okay. My dad's told his sons, his grandsons, the secret to being a man. He also told his daughters and granddaughters the secret to being a woman. I'll let you on a secret. It's not a different secret, it's the same one. It's the exact same secret. And it's the same secret that each Christian needs to take. It's the only pathway to provision and blessing in your life. This big, profound family secret, pretty simple. Love Jesus, do what's right.
Amen.
And I've added all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the
That
time.
last 3 words are mine. That's all I got today. Look around you. Have you gotten problems? Check to see if they're your consequences and do what's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Bill.